Hi everyone. Often I get the question, which phone should I go for? And honestly, that's always a very hard question to answer because simply put, we have to deal with preferences. But there is one phone that I've used that I can easily recommend. And that's the IQOO 12. So let's discuss why this is one of those phones that I can easily recommend. So, what is one of those phones that I can easily recommend? Well, let's just look at the specifications to begin with. Snapdragon 8 Gen 3. Up to 16GB of RAM, up to 1TB of memory, which is UFS 4.0. You get an IP64 rating, 144Hz AMOLED panel with a peak brightness of 3000. And then the cameras, the main sensor being 23mm equivalent, an f-stop of 1.7 and a sensor size of 1/1.3 inches. Then we have a periscope, a 64MP sensor with an f-stop of 2.6 and 70mm equivalent, with the sensor size being 1/2 inches. To then finally, again a 50MP sensor for the ultra-wide with an f-stop of 2.0 and 15mm equivalent, allowing you to record videos up to 8K and 30 frames per second and of course 4K up to 60 frames per second. As well, you get a 5000 mAh battery with the 120W charger included. From 2024, on these specs alone, this is probably one of the favorite phones that I can easily recommend, with it being very reliable in shots. And pictures I've taken are really solid on it, even more so beach shots, that really puts this up there in terms of result. And if you go for the Pro for instance, you even get that ultrasonic fingerprint scanner that has a larger working area. I often get this question, which phone should I get? And that's never an easy answer, because when it comes to a phone and the camera performance itself, a lot of it has to do with preference. And of course the same goes for this one. But if you just look at the shots that I've taken in Switzerland, where I really want to go back to, by the way, because it's a stunning place and I really felt at ease there, you can see the possibilities. Be it zooming in to the stunning mountains with snow on the peaks, or to the waterfall that is coming out of those mountains. I think it did amazingly well here, and that goes for different zoom levels as well. And it's one of the best in capturing shots that are very hard, long exposure shots. IQOO and Vivo are one of the best in those. And during this short day off, I would say, where I drove 11 hours to it and 10 hours-ish back, just to compare shots and showcase a different environment, I have been really impressed with the results that I'm getting from this IQOO 12. And I feel like I captured the scene well. I would say, of course, that it is more of the bright experience when looking at the shots, and that's something you either like or don't. You have to judge that for yourself. But during this, I think it excelled my expectation on what the capabilities were on this phone and why it left such an impression to me. The same goes for the beach shots that I've taken during winter. Again, doing really well with shots that I'm trying to capture here. Now when it comes to zoom, again, amazing results. Sure, you don't expect it to be on the level of, for instance, the Vivo X100 Ultra for instance, but expect it to do really well with, for instance, a 5x zoom. And sure, Switzerland is cheating, because honestly it's hard to film taking amazing shots at a place like this. Even the Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra looked like it was capable of capturing some nice shots. So I also want to showcase, for instance, the failover. It captures the warmth really well in these shots. I love the details on the close-up shots as well. Sure, it's not the most consistent in the warmth, but the results nonetheless speak to me coming from this IQOO 12. And here we have shots where I think the likes of Vivo and IQOO excel the others. Beach shots. Not only do I really like the all-star photography that you have on it as style, are really solid. Really fitting the environment that this IQOO does really well with. Really fitting the environment that this IQOO does well with all kinds of different shots, including when I edit those shots. And yes, JPEG edits are perfectly fine for me. And the style that I spoke about, I used that a decent amount, making normal things just look more appealing for me, where random shots compared to normal would just have so much more character. And this is why I say I don't always look for the perfect shot with perfect dynamic range, perfect highlights, control and so much more. Sometimes I am really looking for the character in the shot, and the imperfection of these shots gives it style and allows it to have character. Though I will say it was really cold at that beach when I was there. Alright, video recording on of course the IQOO 11. It's 4K 30 frames per second. You can go higher, of course, but preferably I always choose 4K 30 frames per second or 60 frames per second. But that's about it for me. So yeah, it's quite cold right now. My hands are freezing. Apparently, my speech as well. My hands are freezing. So that was basically it. Me in Zeeland, going to the beach, different setup, trying to capture a little bit, of course, of the sunrise, which is actually really nice. But a very different location. And I really want to highlight these shots that I've taken in low light as well when it comes to the IQOO 12. Yes, these shots are edited, but when it comes to photography, that goes hand in hand for me. Editing shots, showcasing what it can do when editing it. I've unedited shots, of course, in the review itself when it comes to the IQOO 12, but this is also the potential of it, allowing myself to create a shot and then edit it to my preference or the feel that I want to create in these shots. And I think the IQOO 12 here did really well, allowing me to edit it like it is, because the picture needs to be good for my edit to work. So why would I easily recommend the IQOO 12 for one of those devices that you should look at? Well, as stated, specifications are one of those things, and I think the camera is really solid for the price itself. Sure, again, as stated, it doesn't zoom in as well as, for instance, the Vivo X100 Ultra or the Xiaomi 14 Ultra. Those phones you pay quite a bit more money for. But overall, when it comes to the zoom, it has good capabilities. Shots that I've taken on the IQOO 12 are really solid. Yes, it goes for the more bright experience, and that's not shocking, but I think for what it goes for, it does it really well. Of course, there your preference comes in. If you don't like that kind of shot, then of course, look somewhere else. But if you do, then that is one of those phones that I can easily recommend to this day. Especially with the capabilities for the phone itself, when it comes to the display, when it comes to the camera, when it comes to battery life, when it comes to charging up at 120 watt. Those are reasons that I can recommend it. And you know why even more? You pay about like 600 euros for it, depending on where you get it, of course. And go second hand, and you can get it much cheaper than that even. I think for that reason, this is one of those phones that I can easily recommend. Either way, let me know what you think about this kind of video. I sometimes want to do those look backs and get more of a narration on which phone I can easily recommend for you to get, especially when it comes to the camera, of course, because that's my focus. And the IQOO 12 is one of those. And let me know what you thought about it. Either way, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to like, subscribe and all that stuff. We're getting close to 11,000 and then slowly, you know, creeping up more and more and more. So keep subscribing. Thank you, everyone. Either way, have a good one and talk to you guys in the next